Hey everyone, welcome to Area 616. Earlier this week, Marvel and Freeform released the first full-length trailer for the upcoming second season of Cloak and Dagger. It revealed quite a bit about the season's plot and characters, things we didn't know before. Now that we're only about a month and a half away from its premiere in April, I figured now will be a good time to go over everything we know about Cloak and Dagger Season 2. As usual, this will be in 3 parts. Who, the creators and cast, what, the story of the season, and when, the premiere date, and where you can watch it. And hey, I've got a big Area 616 announcement at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. But let's get started. Basically, everyone that was in the first season is back for this one. Showrunner Joe Pekaski has returned along with the 2 leads, Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph. So far, according to IMDb, we only know of a couple of directors this season: Jennifer Fang, Matthew Hastings, Jessica Borsiski, and Philip John. 2 of them have previous experience with Marvel. Fang directed an episode of Season 1 and is set to direct Episode 11 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, which is set to premiere this May, and John directed an episode of Iron Fist Season 2. As far as the cast goes, we know that Emma Lehana will be returning as Bridget O'Reilly, who will become Mayhem this season. Based on the trailer, it seems like the plot will revolve a lot around her, but I'll get to that in part 2. Cloak and Dagger's parents will also be returning this season as well. We see Anita in the trailer with Tyrone as well as her aunt. There was a big voodoo plotline in Season 1 that never quite wrapped up, that I imagine will continue heavily into this season. I'll get into that later, but there are some interesting things on the way. Beyond that, I think we could also potentially see a return from Detective Connors in some fashion. I highly doubt he's just dead, but that is just speculation on my part. Based on the trailer for Season 2, it looks like this season will start to take Cloak and Dagger where we've all been wanting them to go: full-on vigilantes. The trailer heavily features them fighting crime across New Orleans, specifically focusing on drugs, a big focus point for them in the comics, and human trafficking. It looks like this series might help pick up some of the dark crime story slack left by Daredevil in the Netflix series. In the comics, there are only a couple of criminals they've gone up against that I could find that might fit here. Renee Daladier, aka Ecstasy, is a good option. I could definitely see a reimagined version of her fitting in here. I also love the idea of Mr. Negative being here. He's got some strong connections to Cloak and Dagger and has faced off with them many times in the comics. He's technically a Spider-Man villain, but I don't see him really fitting in with the MCU Spidey considering the direction they're taking him in. He's definitely not in this season, but it's a thought. It's unlikely Sony would ever allow them to do this, however. Some other plot elements will be carrying over from the first season, like how Tyrone is now on the run for a crime he didn't commit. And then there's also Mayhem. Mayhem in the comics is a vigilante of the Punisher variety. She goes after drug dealers around New York, here New Orleans, and brutally murders them, something that puts her at odds with Cloak and Dagger. In the series, it looks like Mayhem's methods will be a big dividing factor between the duo this season, with Dagger seeming to agree with them to some degree, while Cloak is against killing. It'll be interesting to see how far Dagger goes. The green slashes in the posters and marketing seems to tease that Mayhem will have her powers in this season. In the comics, she can emit a gas that paralyzes her victims, and she also has claws. We don't see any gas or anything, but it is said that she slits someone's throat with her hands, so she'll definitely have her claws, at least. It'll be nice to see Cloak and Dagger have to go up against someone who's got power to match theirs. That's something Season 1 kind of lacked. In the comics, Cloak and Dagger are an iconic couple, and while the series has teased that here and there, it's never quite committed to it. Tyrone still has a love interest going with Anita, although where her intentions lie isn't 100% clear. I imagine something will happen to divide them this season. I think we're building up to Tyrone and Tandy getting together, but it may be in Season 3 or even later. I don't understand why they didn't just do it from the start, but whatever. Pulaski has teased in interviews that Mayhem isn't the only villain from the comics that Cloak and Dagger will be going up against this season. He specifically name-dropped Mr. Jip. Now, if you're not familiar with Cloak and Dagger lore, you don't know who he is, but he's essentially a body-hopping demon. He started out as a sorcerer training at Kamar-Taj, a neat potential connection to Doctor Strange, but he only really sought immortality, which he found through living in other people's bodies. In the comics, he has a particular obsession with Tyrone, as he sees him as a living embodiment of darkness. I imagine this is something we could see in Season 2. Perhaps he possesses Tyrone at some point. We actually have seen Mr. Jip before, but we didn't realize it at the time. Remember this guy? Apparently that's him. Now, I really hope they change his design for his actual appearance, because having him wear a cheap Halloween mask that I could literally go to Party City and buy for $4 kinda takes me out of it. I'd like to see a more monstrous design for him here like in the comics, but we'll see what happens. I'm just excited to hear that they're fully embracing the more supernatural elements of these characters. I think that's where Cloak and Dagger really start to get interesting, is how they blend the supernatural with the street level. It's a large part of what makes them so unique. A shot in the trailer seems to tease that we could get a costume for Tyrone, kind of like what he had in Season 1. But I wonder if we'll be getting one for Tandy. Hers is a bit more complicated. It's typically very objectifying, and it doesn't really make sense for this version of Tandy to just start wearing tights randomly. But perhaps they could find a way to make it work for her like they did for Tyrone's cloak, where they actually made it a big part of his character. I found this redesign online, and I think it could really work for Tandy, to keep the dagger motif in this way. The first 2 episodes of Cloak and Dagger Season 2 will premiere on Freeform on Thursday, April 4th, 2019 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, if you're like me and don't have cable, all episodes will be available to stream on Hulu the very next day. You can watch the entirety of Season 1 there right now. The remaining 8 episodes will air over the following weeks, so assuming everything goes smoothly, the Season 2 finale should air on Thursday, May 30th, 2019. My current plan is to release the full review of Season 2 on Friday, May 31st, but that of course could change. Assuming Season 2 is successful and Freeform wants to maintain their relationship with Marvel, it should be renewed for a 3rd season by mid to late May, as they usually renew their series while they're still airing. If this happens, we'd most likely get a 3rd season around the same time next year. There are some rumors swirling that a crossover between Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways is in the works. Nothing official has been announced, but I honestly believe something is happening. Hulu and Freeform have a great relationship. Freeform even aired some episodes of Runaways to help promote it, so it's not hard to believe that they could work out a crossover. If it did happen, it'd have to be after Season 3 of Runaways, so sometime in 2020, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got an announcement for it at some point. But that about does it. That's everything we know about Season 2 of Cloak and Dagger. I never got around to reviewing the first season beyond the premiere, but I enjoyed it. I think it really suffered in terms of pacing. It had a strong beginning, but it kind of started to fizzle out towards the end for me. But Season 2 looks like a big improvement. They'll be upping the vigilante action while keeping the dramatic stakes. It's a good move. I'm interested to see where this series goes. Now that the Netflix shows are gone, it's technically the most adult show Marvel has on the air at the moment, which is kind of sad to think about, actually. Okay, so the big Area 616 announcement. I'm very excited about this. It's something I've been working on for a while now. It's the official website for Area 616. It's nothing too fancy, but it's got all of my videos there, as well as something I'm excited to be getting into, which is blog posts. I've already posted a welcome blog, a review of Netflix's Umbrella Academy series, and an article talking about my favorite currently running Marvel comics. I think it's an opportunity to talk about stuff I've never talked about before, and you guys can all sign up and leave comments just like on here. I haven't yet decided how regularly I'll be posting there, but I know it'll be at the very least once or twice a week. So head on over and let me know what you guys think. But I'd love to know all of your thoughts and theories here. Did you enjoy Season 1 of Cloak and Dagger? What kind of villains or storylines would you like to see in Cloak and Dagger's MCU future? And how would you go about a Runaways Cloak and Dagger crossover? Let me know all your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Jimmy got soul, let me mimic. It's not quite right, you must be a cynic. Sign on the walls, I was grinning. Coming to my time, come see me. Sucker to